What is up, my friends? How are we? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda, where as always we have a lot to go through. Appreciate your support. Thank you to everyone who's in nice and early as well, reading your comments before I started. Thank you for all your kind words. It is always appreciated. So tonight we're going to be speaking about the story that maybe Trent has turned down Real Madrid, at least according to Team Talk. We're going to be speaking about Ruben, Amorim and Manchester United. We're going to be speaking a little bit about the Virgil van Dijk injury scare, which isn't really a scare, in my opinion. We're also going to be giving you some more links to Omar Marmoush, some stories coming out of Germany saying that Liverpool have already started those talks over a 2025 move. That and a few other bits and pieces over the course of the next hour. There's some more stories starting to come out of Italy as well around Chiesa and his future. So we'll work through it all. And actually, there's even a hint to where Jurgen Klopp may end up becoming a manager again. So we'll go through all of that and see what you guys think. As always, everyone that joined me earlier on, by the way, thank you with me and Lee for the first episode of the Red Mist podcast. Pleasure meeting some of you guys for the first time. And to all of our crew who came over, thank you again for your support. So look, you know the drill. I'm going to go through the topics, but let me know what it is that you guys want me to go through as well. And I'll do my best to get stuck into it. Right, so where are we at? I've literally been rewatching your streams. That's how bad I missed you. Troy, thank you. You know, it was a couple of days away, always needed over the international break. You know, we were in Liverpool on the Friday for a live show, which was brilliant. And we took the Thursday off just to prepare as well. So yeah, here we are. We're good to go. It is Monday. And the good news is, at the end of this week, the Reds are back in action. We know we travelled to St Mary's to take on Southampton, a game that, you know, I'm feeling pretty confident going into. I'm sure you guys are as well. And then it's the big ones. Then we've got Real Madrid. We've got Manchester City in the league as well. And they're going to have a big part to say, particularly the City game, on what our season looks like. Right. Trent spotted filming with Liverpool West Derby home. Yes, so you're right about that. I've got the image actually here in front of me. I don't know what this means, by the way. It could just be a day in the life of Trent Alexander-Arnold. But you are right. There have been images doing the rounds today of Trent in and around, I think West Derby is where he's from. I don't know Liverpool that well to know all the areas in it. But I think it's certainly a good sign. I don't know if it means anything about Trent's future, but there are undoubted images of him recording with some of the Liverpool media team. So, you know, we'll wait and see what that is. I don't think it's a contract extension, to be honest. I think it's probably a day in the life of kind of thing. But still, it's better than bad news, isn't it? So, you know, we'll talk through that as well. On the Trent situation, I mean, I might as well kick off with that one for everyone that's in nice and early. So, Team Talk and posted by the Anfield Buzz, always like to credit where these things come from. They say Trent Alexander-Arnold is set to reject Real Madrid. Let me just sit on that sentence for a second because, God, that feels good to say. I hope it's true. But anyway, it said Trent Alexander-Arnold is set to reject Real Madrid. FSG now have a major, all in capitals, belief that Trent won't leave. Liverpool have gained confidence and expect Trent's renewal before Christmas. Now, look, I'm going to be speaking with David Lynch on Wednesday, and I'm going to put this to him. But it's good news to see these type of things come out. I wouldn't, again, be dancing in the streets just yet, but it's certainly better than the stuff we've seen coming out of the Spanish side, which has always been that Trent's made his mind up, that he's leaving, yada, yada. So we'll wait and see on this. They say Liverpool want to get it done before Christmas. I would say we absolutely have to get it done before Christmas. You can't possibly go into the January international window with this unresolved. So let's wait and see there. So Joshua, thank you for your super chat, mate. Said, I heard that we've signed Loic Bade from Sevilla. So I was given a little bit of a warning about this link before we started the stream. Connor messaged me to say to me that that story comes from Fichajes, who, in our opinion here on Anfield Agenda, most, if not all of the stories we've seen over the years come out of there belong on Bullshit Island. So, you know, every time I've spoken to David or other people in and around Liverpool around this, I've not really gotten much credence to these rumours. So I don't know if it's true, if it isn't true. Somebody's asking for a recap. Dude, I'm live 5 minutes. 5 minutes. It's not recap time just yet, bro. I'm 5 minutes live. We can't be doing recaps. We're only getting going. So you'll get through it all. Don't worry, mate. We'll get there. So yeah, I don't think that story's true. around Loic Bade. I don't believe it's true. Because I don't believe we're looking at him. And every time I've spoken with people about it, his name is never one that really gets people excited or even gets people's eyebrows raised. I don't think it's legit, to be honest with you. So, we'll have to keep looking. I don't know what to think on the centre-back situation, by the way, because I'm not really in too much of a rush at the minute to bring somebody in. And if we do bring somebody in, I would imagine it's going to be a younger centre-back, somebody to build towards the future. Now, also when you're being linked with centre-backs that are currently starting and that, it worries me around the Van Dijk situation. So I hope it's got nothing to do with that, but I wouldn't be believing that particular outlet if I was you. Conor Bradley just scored as well for Northern Ireland, by the way. Well done, Conor Bradley. Thank you to the chat. I see a few people in the chat put that in, so I appreciate you. That's class. Well done, Conor Bradley. So that's 2-0. They were 2-0 up, I believe, now. Or at least they were 1-0 up before that one. So look, loads to get through. I'm going to start off by... I'm going to call somebody out. I have to do it. I shouldn't give these idiots the airtime. But Alternative MUFC on X... and whoever the absolute arsehole is that runs this account, you're an absolute lowlife. Posted a picture of jumpers saying, feed the Scousers, let them know it's Christmas time. Posted that up and then took it down. And when they took it down, they posted up a little post to say this. I remember the crying over this chant last Christmas and I thought it was pretty laughable at the time. People apologising on social media for being filmed chanting it. People digging others out over it, acting like serious crimes have been committed over a fucking football chant. Well, my friend, if you actually had a pair of balls and the courage of your convictions, you wouldn't have taken down the post about the t-shirts or the hoodies or the tops or whatever it is that piece of shit you're trying to sell is. So, how about this? I have a little challenge for you. If you don't think there's anything wrong with your Feed the Scousers chant, I would urge you to walk into any pub in Liverpool city centre and sing it at the top of your lungs, and we'll see how you get on. But you won't do that, because like everybody else that hides behind a fake profile name, giving it Billy Big Bollocks, you won't have the courage of your convictions, because you're a coward. That's all you are. You wouldn't have taken down the picture if you didn't think it was wrong. And by the way, just on your comment, it's a football chant, so the words in it don't matter. So by your own ill-conceived stupidity, if I just threw in a load of racist words, homophobic slurs, into a song and sang it, no problem there, right? Because it's a football chant. You're an idiot. And you know this. And you did this for what? To try and look like the big man? To try and act like a hard man? You're a pussy. Everybody knows it. Come out from hiding behind your profile and go into Liverpool with your don't know what all the fuss is about, Feed the Scousers chant. If you think mocking poverty is funny, I don't know what you get your kicks from. Because I tell you what, I've been all over the UK. I've been in my own country. And I've seen poverty. And I've seen people struggling to put food on the table. And never did I find it funny. Never did I find it funny. And never did I think I'd mock somebody because of their financial position. You absolute low-life piece of shit. But you know this. You just think you're a hard man. You're not. You're a pussy. Like the rest of them hiding behind fake account names, fake profiles. Go to Liverpool and sing your song. And then we'll all come to visit you in hospital. Because that's exactly what would happen. You know that would happen. But you don't even believe what you've written. Because the coward that you are, you took down the picture. Because you won't stand over it. Like every other loudmouth arsehole on social media who hides behind a fake name and a fake profile picture. You think you can do what you want. You think you can say what you want. If you're that hard, if you're that confident in it, show yourself to the world. Show your employers who you are. Show the rest of the world who you are. So we can all judge you as the piece of shit that you are. How dare you, you absolute arsehole. Trying to look down on people because you think poverty's funny. Funny. Let's mock people. It's just a song, sure. It's just a song. What doesn't mean anything. Arsehole. Make it a show of your fan base. Anyway, apologies about that. Shouldn't really give him the time of day, but yet again, another person who just hides behind a fake account name, doesn't use their own name, doesn't use their own profile picture, because he knows that's wrong. He knows he wouldn't say it, because he knows he'd be fired. see Lampard got the Coventry job. I'd seen that he was linked to it. It's an interesting one. So I gotta be honest, as a guy, I like Lampard. I think Lampard's a decent fella. I think, you can talk about his managerial background or whatever, but as a man, I think he's a decent fella, decent football man, had a great career, model pro as well. I'm not sure what will work out like at Coventry, but, it's probably about the level that I think is a fair one for him to come back in and dip his toe into the managerial world. So, let's see how he gets on. Best of luck to him. Jason, how are you, bro? Always lovely to see you in. Jason Morris said, why we love you, Craig. You keep it real. It's nonsense. You know what I mean, Jason? He goes on and posts this shit thinking he's funny. Then takes it down because he knows it's wrong. Then tries to back up him taking it down by saying he doesn't know what people are getting their knickers in a twist about. But he's doing it all from behind an account name where nobody knows who he is. Because if he actually had a pair of balls and believed in what he said, he wouldn't be hiding away from the world saying it, would he? But he won't, because like every other keyboard warrior, he's a pussy. Right, so people are asking me about the VVD situation. No, I do not believe he is injured. So just to kind of clear all of this up, Frankie de Jong and Virgil van Dijk have been released from the Dutch national team squad ahead of their last Nations League game because it's a dead rubber for them. They've already qualified for the playoff round of the Nations League. So I think this is just Ronald Koeman looking at de Jong and Virgil and the injuries and the amount of minutes that they've had and just saying, look, go back to your clubs, get a little bit of rest, busy end to the season, or busy, festive period coming up as well. So I just think this is good management, but they always have to cover themselves, I guess, by saying for medical reasons they were sent back. I don't believe there's any injury around Virgil van Dijk. He played the full 90 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, for the Netherlands in their victory over Hungary. So I don't think we've anything to be concerned about. I think this is just another win for us, to be honest. We had Trent, who wasn't able to play with England because he had the hamstring concern, but he should be back. We obviously know as well that Mohamed Salah was given time off by the Egyptian national team to stay away from the games that they had, so he stayed and rested up a little bit. And I know he's been talking at a book fair, I think, over in the United Arab Emirates, which is, again, lovely to see Mo speaking about the importance of books and reading in his life and in his development. And again, just shows you what a good guy he is. So yeah, I don't think we've nothing to be concerned about with Virgil. De Jong has just come back from an injury as well. Yeah, that's exactly it. I just think it's just good management from the Dutch national team, giving these guys a bit of a breather. So on Ronald Koeman speaking about it said, the schedule of Virgil van Dijk is very busy. He is a player who plays every game, so I decided to send him back to Liverpool. So again, I wouldn't be worried about the injuries, thankfully. I think Koeman just did the right thing here. So well done to Ronald Koeman on that one. So a story caught my eye today, again, around Federico Chiesa. And I've said this to you guys for a while. It feels like they just can't let him go over in Italy. And yet again today, Tutto Sport have said that to help Chiesa out of his nightmarish scenario, Inter Milan are waiting in the wings. The reigning Serie A champions are seeking inspiration as they sift forth in a tightly contested race. And the Mirror described the San Siro as a possible escape route for the attacker. Now, honestly, to the best of my understanding, there is no issues from Federico Chiesa. He just hasn't been put up to speed yet. He hasn't got up to the level of fitness yet that he should be at. And Arne Slot spoke about giving him a bit of a pre-season now to prepare him. I've had no indication from speaking with anybody, from the things that I've read, that Liverpool or Chiesa are unhappy. Yes, it's frustrating that we haven't got a chance to see more of him yet, but these stories coming out of Italy, I don't know of anybody from the Liverpool side who would put any credence to them or believe in them. It just seems like nonsense. David, how are you, mate? And thank you for your super chat. You said, any chance you could get Darragh McAnthony on the podcast? So I have Darragh McAnthony booked in for, you know what, I need to check. I think it's next week, but it could be this week. Let me just check my emails with Darragh, 1 second, because I'm glad you reminded me of that one. Let me just check really quickly my emails to Darragh, because I do have him booked in, David, for a show. 1 second. Right, where are you, sir? Where are you? It's not making for great view on this, mate. Sorry, I'm just trying to Just trying to get this one sorted out. One sec, maybe if I go to sent, that'd be easier. Where are you? There he goes. Right, what date have I got in? Wednesday. Record with him on Wednesday, so I'll have to give him a message about that tonight. But yeah, I have that booked in for Wednesday, mate. So hopefully that all comes to plan. Am I getting ready for the snow? I don't do snow. I don't like snow, mate. I'm a warm weather person, so if I see snow outside, I won't be going near it. Am I going to dress as Santa Claus? I'm going to say no, Mark. Mate, I'm going to say no on that one. Yeah, I'll kindly pass. So there was another mad story coming out of Italy that we spoke a little bit about at the end of yesterday's stream. And apparently Liverpool, very much like AC Milan winger Christian Pulisic, and there's been some reports to suggest that Liverpool are going to look to make a bid for him. Once again, I don't believe this to be true. We know that if Liverpool are going to look at an attacking player, most likely that player is going to be Omar Marmoush, who I'm going to speak about in a few minutes because there's been more links to him. So I don't think there's much truth to this Christian Pulisic thing. And I can't lie, I would have liked him. Earlier on in his career, I would have loved Pulisic before he went to Chelsea at Liverpool, but I don't think there's any truth to this, to be honest with you, so I wouldn't be expecting it. Apologies. We don't need Pulisic and we can do better, said Kieran Williams. Look, I don't think we need him either. He's having a great time in Milan. He looks like he's, enjoying his football over there. So it feels more to me like maybe they're trying to get some interest up to free up some money for somebody else. And I just can't see Liverpool making a bid for Pulisic. It doesn't make any sense to me. And, his injury record over the years isn't one that I think would appeal to Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards either. Do Adidas do Christmas jumpers? Do you know what, Johnny? I don't know. I was on the Adidas website earlier on, mate, looking at the sale. But I didn't see or pay attention to any Christmas jumpers on there, so I honestly don't know. Any news about Harvey Elliott? I fully expect him to be available for the weekend. He's back training with the 21s. I think he will start training with the first team as well. So I think he's very close to being good to go. So I've not heard of any setbacks or anything like that around Harvey Elliott. So all going to plan. We should see Harvey Elliott hopefully in the matchday squad this weekend. That Bournemouth left back looks like a huge type of signing. He does. Milos Kerkez, again, lots of stories linking us to him. Some going as far as to say that Liverpool and Bournemouth have already started negotiations or preliminary talks over a move. Again, I will be speaking with David about this on Wednesday. Wednesday. Busy day for me on Wednesday now. I've got Darren McAnthony, David Lynch, and of course the regular shows as well. Craig, please give Coach Bill a shout out. Glad to hear he's recovering and to see that he's back in the chat as well. Yes, always lovely to see Coach Bill in and sending lots of love over to him. Kerkez is 21. I know, that's exciting, Till Sheen, because I've always said to you, if we do bring in a left back, I do see it being somebody no older than 24. And Kerkez at 21 certainly feels right in our wheelhouse. And as many have said in the chat as well, Richard Hughes would know all about Kerkez and would certainly probably have a line of communication to his representatives as well. Other reports from Hungarian media have said that there is some truth and substance to these rumours. Liverpool are interested. We covered this a little bit on yesterday's show. So, yeah, I do think this one is one that we should keep an eye on. I will hopefully have some more information over the course of the next few days that I can give to you guys on that. On Jurgen Klopp, bit of a mad one today, by the way. There's been a story doing the rounds in Spain that suggests that Jurgen Klopp could be lined up as the next Atletico Madrid manager should they part ways with Diego Simeone. They go on to say that the introduction of Carlos Boquero as the sporting director or director of football for Atleti means that long-standing manager Diego Simeone has lost some power at the club. And I've said to you guys many, many times, go back and watch older streams, I've never seen Jurgen at Barcelona. I've never seen Jurgen in my mind at Real Madrid. But I did say to you, if he went to Spain, I'd have a feeling it would most likely be a club like Atletico Madrid, who seem like a very Jurgen Kloppy type of club. Now, I've no idea if there's going to be any truth to this, or if he's going to stay in his gig with Red Bull, which I believe he's starting. So, keep an eye on it, but this does say that they have a lot of admiration for Jurgen, and if they part ways with Simeone, maybe they look at Jurgen. It would be interesting. As I said, I've always thought that they are a very Klopp type club to go to, so we'll see if that can happen to that one. Coach Bill said, I'm better and positive. Glad we're both here now. Well, glad to see you in, Coach Bill, mate. Always appreciate you. You and All Red are cooking. Love your partnership. Thank you. Thank you. I did read through some of the comments on there. Some nice, and then some people who always just try and twist things to say that they were banned for nothing from our chat. And I love, by the way, I don't ban half the people from our chat. Moderators do it, and I always get the blame for it. And again, I back up my moderators, but yeah, I always love to do these crossovers, but there's always some arsehole in the chat that was banned from our channel and says things like, I hate this lad, never watch him. But yet there you are in the comments like a good little fanboy watching and commenting. So, look, it was lovely to be invited on. I had great fun with Sam. Certainly intend to repay the favour and have Sam and some of the guys from All Red over on the channel soon for a stream because, as always, nothing but respect and appreciate the invite. Sorry, appreciate the invite. Meant Red miss, but can't wait to have him on the pod. No, I want to get him on the Anfield Agenda one because he's a Liverpool fan, Darren McAnthony, and I want to catch up with him. I haven't spoke to Darren in a while, so yeah, it'd be interesting to hear his take on Arne Slot's start and of course everything else. Who are my top 5 players of all time? I mean, I don't know, mate, off the top of my head. I mean, Messi, Maradona. I don't know. I haven't really given it much thought, mate. I don't do things like that. I just find it a little bit pointless, Just enjoy players when they're here. I don't try to rank them or grade them too much. But I'd say it'd be Maradona and Messi at the top of my list anyway. Would I do any watch-alongs with other Liverpool fans? No. That's my time with my audience. I love my watch-alongs. I love doing them solo. I might be a bit selfish, but no, I'm never sharing. It's that's my time with my audience. I love it, and I love doing them solo. Craig, if I were to sign a 6, I'd sign Alan Varela from Porto. He understands. He's underrated in class. So Omar, I wouldn't hate that signing at all, mate. I think Varela has a lot about him. Still, I think 23 or 24, so still fairly young. Very highly thought of in Argentina as well. Like yourself, I was hopeful that those links at the end of last summer may have been true. Turns out that we didn't send people over to Porto last minute. But at the moment, mate, I haven't really seen or heard much to suggest he is in the frame. But, I will certainly put it to David Lynch when I speak to him on Wednesday. Rank refs in order: Oliver, Koo, Tierney, Taylor. There are 4 different shades of shite, mate. I mean, how am I supposed to put that in order? I don't know. Big shit, little shit, smaller shit, slightly smaller shit again. I don't know. I don't rate any of them, to be honest with you. So Oliver used to be a decent ref, but I feel like his ego has got in the way for me. Look, I don't even want to know the name of these referees, in all honesty. They get too much coverage for me. They get too much time under the microscope. I don't want to know anything about them. Just come do your job and fuck off. Honestly, I'm fed up with them. We should know these lads' names. They're referees. They're not the stars. They might think they are, but they're not. If you could bring in one player in January, Craig, who would you pick? Said Shane. It probably would be Zubamendi, Shane, in all honesty. I think whoever Arne Slot wants for that central midfield position, I'm fully behind him. I just hope that if he has identified somebody along with Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards, that they can get it done and get it over the line, because we can't be messing around anymore with this midfield situation. It's beyond embarrassing that we still haven't resolved it. 2 different managers, 2 different sporting directors, 4, 5, 6 transfer windows. It's dragged on way too long. So yeah, I hope we can get it boxed off, because if we were to do it and bring somebody in, I really feel extremely confident that we will win the league. I might be deluded, I might be over the top, but honestly, I feel like we box off that player, other than a catastrophic injury or something that might come back to haunt us. I feel really confident, because, well, why wouldn't we be? We've played really... Well, no, do you know what? I won't even say we've played really well. We've just got really good results. I still feel there are some things we can improve on, some gears we can still go through, but for me, dream January window is getting the contract sorted out with the lads that are up and bringing in that midfielder. If they can be done, I will be a very happy Liverpool fan. Who do I think was better, Deeney or Crouch? Crouchy. Come on now. Definitely Crouchy. Deeney just, I don't know. Look, I don't even want to speak about Troy Deeney after his nonsense about Mohamed Salah. I mean, at least Alan Pardew called him out, and he disagreed as well. I mean, how anybody in and around the football world could look at Salah and think he isn't world class. It's just embarrassing. I don't know what else to say. I can't believe that that's a real take. I refuse to believe it's a real take from him. Craig, do you think the drop off by Pep has something to do with Klopp leaving 11 years, competing with each other? Maybe a bit of that, but I would also say, and I've warned about this for a while for the City situation, we can't underestimate the pressure that they're under at City right now. I know that they try to make out like everything is rosy and they're not concerned about the charges, but if you throw the charges on top of the fact that they haven't had the best of starts, on top of the fact that they have some injuries, and you have players like Bernardo Silva coming out and saying that it's a dark time at the minute, I don't think it's unexpected, you know? Yeah, I expected City to drop off a bit this year because of the exterior pressures. Now, it'll be very interesting to see what happens when this 115 charges case gets resolved, or, you know, when that goes to appeal. It'll also be interesting to see what Guardiola does about his own contract. Does he sign that 1 year extension, or I don't know. But I'm glad, because, well, you know why. You don't need me to go back through it. I've bored you all for years with my take on Man City. Joseph Purvis said, up the Borough, Doak doing well with him, and with Scotland. Another assist tonight for John McGinn. So, yeah, Ben Doak really having a good run of it with the Scottish national team at the minute. And of course, look, he's working with a good footballing man in Michael Carrick at Middlesbrough. I think Michael Carrick is a very underrated player for the time that he was playing with United and Spurs. A damn fine midfielder. And, yeah, a good footballing man. So I'm sure Ben Doak is learning a lot there at Middlesbrough, and again showing what he can do. So, Sonny Joyce said, do you think Southampton will shock us? No. I don't, mate. I don't think they have the firepower to hurt us. We would have to have a very bad day at the office, Sonny. But look, it is the Premier League, mate. I didn't think Forest were going to beat us at Anfield, and that happened. So, you know, if we show up and we do our job, I don't think we'll drop points. But, you know, we have to show up and do our job. We can't overlook them. We can't start looking ahead to the Real Madrid and Manchester City games, because, you know, we have to take care of business. 3 points is 3 points. We spoke about this, Harry's already, mate. You can forget about that Loic Bade crap. It comes from Fakahes, who are absolute bullshit island merchants, and I wouldn't put any credence to that link whatsoever. It's been there for a while, and every time I've spoken to anybody like David Lynch or other journalists or other fan channels or even people in Liverpool, nobody thinks that is a legit target for Liverpool, or he is a legit target, excuse me. Curtis, thank you, mate, for your super chat. Really kind of you, bro. Said, hi, mate. Hope you're well. Reckon Queeve deserves to keep his place even when Ali is fit. Lad hasn't put a foot wrong when playing for us. Thoughts? I agree. Look, Arne Slot has said Allison's number one. When Allison's fit, Allison's going to start. So we have to take it with that caveat. But I'm always a believer in, if somebody's playing well and takes the opportunity when they're given it, they keep the shirt. Even despite the fact that Allison, in my opinion, is the best goalkeeper in the world. I agree with you. Queeveen's done nothing wrong. But it does seem like when Allison comes back, Queeveen's going to drop back to the bench. And it sucks for him because he couldn't have done any more. Rachel, you're flying home tonight from Barcelona. Well, safe travels home to you. And let me know how the indoor pool was while you were away. Did it look after itself? I'm still very jealous. I'm very bitter about that pool, Rachel. I can't lie, mate. I'm very bitter. But I could almost be an Evertonian here, Rachel. But enjoy it, and safe travels home to you both. Zed Chichild said, we always play horrible after the international break, though. Fair. Yeah, we have struggled to get going at times. That's a fair point. Now, what I'm hoping for with this one, though, is we've got a bit longer, right? So England and Ireland players and those guys, they're finished their international break now. Verge is on his way back. Salah. So I'm hoping that we don't have the same drop-off maybe when we come back, because we're playing on the Sunday as well, which gives Arna an extra day then to get things sorted out with the boys, get them. I'm interested to know, though, whether we'll play Alexis McAllister in this game, because he's one booking away from a suspension, and I don't think he's going to want to have Alexis suspended for the Man City game. So I'm guessing we might see a midfield of Szoboszlai, Jones and Ryan Gravenberch for the game against Southampton. Aaron said, Kelleher should definitely keep his place. That's what breeds competition in the squad. I agree. I don't think he will, though. I think, to be fair to Arne Slot, he has been very clear about this, saying when Ali's fit, he's his number one. It has divided some Liverpool fans, former players, pundits, journalists, on what the best course of action would be. But again, I'm going to reiterate, isn't this a nice headache for us to have? I'll take that. I'll take the fact that we've got goalkeepers who are all really good, and we're just trying to figure out what's the right thing to do. It's certainly better than the days where we were looking at Adrian. That wasn't great. So yeah, I'm happy, but I do feel for Queeveen. Actually, myself and Lee touched on something on the Red Mist podcast, and I think David Lynch has said the same. Amazed Chelsea haven't looked at Kelleher, because he's better than what they have. He's better than Sanchez. So I think David said that first, and I agree with him. I think they would have... they're foolish not to have tried to sign Kelleher. Andy, how are you, bro? Said, stoked to hear the Trent news. To be fair, Mr. Lynch has always stated they're in talks that is positive and no signs of him wanting to leave. Again, though, I would say, as good as it is to read these things, mate, and I'm buzzing about it as well, I would take it with a bit of a pinch of salt, because it's team talk for now. If there's some more meat on these bones and we get other journalists start to come out and, back this up, then happy days. It's certainly always better to read these positive updates than maybe some of the negative ones. So, here's something, though, that I think will excite you guys. So, Christian Falk of Build said, it should be remembered that there's a big link between Omar Marmoush and Liverpool. It would be a dream for the player to move to Anfield, especially because of the presence of Mohamed Salah. He would love to be Salah's successor should his compatriot leave the club. It would mean a lot in his home country. Initial talks have already taken place with the Reds over a 2025 move, and that was posted by our friends at LFC Transfer Room. So that makes me happy. But there's one part in that I would like to, clarify. I don't want him to be Mohamed Salah's successor. I want him to be playing alongside Mohamed Salah, because none of us want Mo to go yet. We still believe Mo has a few more years to offer yet. But I've always told you guys, Marmoush feels like a genuine one. The interest is sincere. The price tag is one that we can absolutely afford. And most importantly, probably, he seems to really want to come to Liverpool. Lots of reports coming out of Germany have suggested that Liverpool are the club in the Premier League that he wants to move to, and that he's almost besotted with the idea of coming and playing So yeah, I'd be right behind that one. Again, though, I've always said I think we'd need to move a forward on before we bring another one in, but maybe you disagree with that, I don't know. But for me, having 6 now and young Jayden Danns is enough for 3 positions. But if we were to sell somebody, this is the gentleman I think we should be going after. Conor Bradley scored for Northern Ireland. Yep, I know. It's brilliant, isn't it? Fair play to him. Oh, I'm genuinely buzzing for Conor Bradley. He's a fantastic footballer. Great to see him doing well as well with his national team, and hopefully he can carry that confidence and good form back into a Liverpool shirt. Toby said Liverpool is huge in Egypt. Yep, and no doubt because of the great exploits of Mohamed Salah as well. You know, playing in a Liverpool shirt. And let's keep that love in going, you know. Let's bring in Omar Marmoush so we can keep the Egyptian love in of Liverpool going. Wade said, Ali is the best goalkeeper in the world. When he returns, it's not even a question who starts. Well done to Kells. Well, it is a question. You might not like that it's a question, mate, but it is, because we're here debating it. And it isn't a landslide of Kelleher should drop back to the bench. I mean, I'm happy to put it to the poll. And by the way, mate, I'm not trying to shout you down. Sorry. It is a debate. And it's even more of a debate because of the injury to Allison. And the fact that it isn't his first or second hamstring injury. So I think Liverpool fans, maybe for the first time ever, are looking and thinking, is this going to be something that carries on perhaps into the future? And should we be worried about it? So yeah, other than that, look, I think he's the best goalkeeper in the world, mate, Alisson Becker. So I'm not trying to undermine Allison. But I think for the first time in his Liverpool career, some Liverpool fans are now starting to think, well, maybe there is a question to be asked here because of Kelleher's good form. Sorry, I'm just replying to Lee on something here. Sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time. Apologies. Brandon said it's 3-1 San Marino. I can't believe it. I don't care about San Marino. Doesn't make any difference to me if they're winning a game of football or not, mate. Where's Doak loan to, said Toby. Middlesbrough, mate. He's playing for... And again, sorry, mate, that wasn't a dig at you, Brandon. He's playing for Michael Carrick at Middlesbrough. So, I'm going to ask the question on... Since our friend put it into the conversation, I'm going to ask the question about Allison. So, 1 second. Right, let me just read this back through. Right, so question is, should Allison come straight back in as number 1? Yay or nay? I'll let that run in the background. You guys can have your say, and I'm sure we'll get a better understanding of how people are feeling about things. So, question is, should Allison come straight back in as number 1? Yes or no? And then sure, we'll see how you're all feeling about it. Fahim, how are you, sir? Said, from Tanzania, Craig, is the latest stuff on Loic Bade true? I don't believe it is. You know, I don't know for certain because, you know, I didn't put that story out there, but where it's come from, Fakake's, I wouldn't be putting too much faith in it personally. And also when I've spoken to David behind the scenes as well about the particular player, he's never even heard of him. Never heard his name being brought up in conversation. And remember, David Lynch used to work for the Liverpool media team, so, you know, he's got good contacts inside the club, speaks to people on a regular basis, and a name is just not one that's come up. Jace, how are you? Jace Hickman said, I actually think there's 2 questions around the goalkeeping. 1, does Ali walk straight back in? And 2, do we offer Kelleher a new contract and tell him and Mamardashvili to fight it out? You see, Jace, I did a piece on this last week, and I'm on your second part of that. I would very much be of the mindset of trying to convince Kelleher to fight it out with Mamardashvili or split the duties between them, Champions League, Premier League or whatever, because Alisson Becker's 32. He started to have some hamstring injuries and we could probably get a few quid, like a good few quid for him. And then we would have Alisson Becker money. We would have already brought in Mamardashvili. You would have Caoimhín Kelleher, who turns 26 next month, and Mamardashvili, who's 24. Your goalkeeping department is boxed off then for the next 7-8 years. And again, that increased competition for places between Kelleher and Mamardashvili would give options to Arne Slot, because some things I've read about Mamardashvili, people are not doubting his quality as a goalkeeper, but are doubting perhaps his suitability to the way we play and want their goalkeeper to use his feet and play out from the back. So we've not yet really seen much of Mamardashvili doing that, so we don't know what to expect there. So for me, look, I think we've an abundance of riches, but I have to say, I would kind of err on the side of it might be worth taking that money for a goalkeeper who is starting to get some injuries and is still 32, is not old for a goalkeeper, but I don't know. It's a difficult one. I think we got to take Arne at his word in that Allison is his number one. He'll walk straight back in. And if Ali wants to be here next year, I'm sure Ali will be here next year. But for me, I just think for the first time ever, there maybe is a conversation around what the future of the goalkeeping department looks like. Craig, should Liverpool renew Jarosz contract? I would say yes, but from his perspective, I'm sure Jarosz is going to know what his future looks like. And, you know, right now, he's fourth on that goalkeeping list. He's a very good keeper. I'm still not sure where his contract situation is. Transfermarkt said his contract's up at the end of this season. David Lynch was unsure. He thought maybe he'd signed an extension previously. So it is certainly one that it'll be interesting to see how it works out, because I don't think we'll be short of takers for Jarosz if he is to move on. Buddha said, we need to hold some respect on Kelleher and keep him. If Allison gets another injury and we've sold Kelleher, then we have to rely on Mamardashvili, and we've not lost a game since Kelleher's been covering for Allison. Look, I'm Irish. I'm biased in this conversation, but I'm also somebody who is a huge, huge fan of Alisson Becker. He is the best goalkeeper I've seen in a Liverpool shirt in my life, bar none. But, you know, I am a pragmatist as well, and I've spoken about availability a lot on the show over the last couple of weeks when we're talking about Diogo Jota or other players. And I don't know if this is going to be a concern going forward for Allison. If you could guarantee me right now that Alisson's injury problems are behind him, then I think this is a different conversation. But we don't know that. And we've had a couple now. And, you know, I don't think he's played since the start of September. That's quite a while out. Coupled with the fact that I think Kelleher played 26 games the second part of last season when Ali was out. And Kelleher's picked up some great experience in the Champions League and the Carabao Cup finals. He could even make that a hat-trick this season. Rachel, thank you for gifting a membership. Appreciate you. Very kind of you. Kono said, question too tough, I don't know what to vote. I know, mate. It is a difficult question. But again, I want to reiterate, it's good though. You know, we're spoiled for choice there. We've got some fantastic goalkeepers. What happened to top of the league? I've explained this about 1,000 times, Bobby. Excuse me. We knocked it on the head because I'm trying to remember what I can and can't say. Our United friend wanted to stick to his United channel, and we wanted to back him with that. So Adam wanted to just focus on FUTV and couldn't really commit to doing enough of it moving forward between us. And the whole unique selling point of that project was a Liverpool and United fan watching games and going back and forth. So it just wasn't really working out as we'd all hoped. So we knocked it on the head. It is now the Red Mist podcast, so that is that channel. So if you're already subbed to that, happy days. But it's great to see Adam doing so well, by the way. Absolutely delighted with how Adam's getting on since his channel launch, and he went out on his own. I knew he'd do well because he's a great content creator, very knowledgeable guy. So yeah, that's the story behind it. Ewan, thank you, mate, for your super chat. Ewan said, I do think Allison should return as the new number one. However, it's funny that Allison has made me feel more nervous at times than Kelleher. I think they're both very calming influences, aren't they? You know, you watch the two of them and they never seem flustered. They never seem to be struggling mentally. They seem like two very composed, calm goalkeepers. Obviously, Allison a bit more of a physical presence there. Cuivin's not quite as broad-shouldered. But fantastic goalkeepers, the pair of them. Both excellent with the ball at their feet as well. So, yeah, appreciate your input, Ewan. And, you know, I've no problem with anybody who thinks Allison should come back in as number one. You know, it's a very understandable stance to have. And now, on the other side of this, YXNGS1 said Kelleher shouldn't be benched as soon as Alisson Becker returns. So you can see there is a bit of a split on this one. The poll, by the way, which I'll check in on now, just for everyone that doesn't know we're running one or whatever. So at the minute, the poll question is, should Allison come straight back in as number one when he returns? So far, with 500 votes, 62% say yes he should, and 38% are saying no he should not. And we're going to leave that one running for a little bit longer. So if you haven't voted on it, we really would love to know your thoughts. Sam said, as you always say, Craig, the manager decides, so we should all back Slaw. 100%. Arne is the gaffer. He makes the decisions. We're all, of course, entitled to have an opinion, and that's what this is all about, being a fan. But yeah, right behind the manager, whatever he wants to do, I'll back it. Craig, has David Lynch said we should sign somebody in January? So he believes if the opportunity presents itself, yes. You know, if the right player is there for Liverpool, yes. You know, David's always said to me that, as an example, if Zubimendi was to pick up the phone to Richard Hughes and say, do you know what, mate, I've changed my mind. I should have moved in the summer, and I'm open to it now. I think that deal gets done very quickly, and I think Liverpool are happy to revisit it. But I don't know of any other targets, as an example. We spoke about Carlos Baleba at Brighton a little bit. He's somebody that Liverpool are keeping tabs on, but we also know how difficult it'll be to get a player out of Brighton without paying a huge fee. You know, maybe he has a release clause that we don't know about. I don't know about that one, but other than that, I've not really heard of many names. I don't really believe that Arlian Tchouameni is... Like, my take on the Tchouameni situation is this. I think Madrid are looking to sell him and bring in some money. And it's easy to link us to him again because, of course, we were genuinely interested before he went to Madrid from Monaco. He chose Madrid, no problem with that. And when Jurgen was here, we were in for him. So, yeah, I don't think there's truth to that either. Oh, chat are saying Robbo scored as well. Nice. Well done, Robbo. So what's the score there? They were 1-0 up, I'd seen, against Poland. What is it now? Johnny Lloyd Bade, no. I don't, unless something's changed that I don't know about, I don't believe there's anything to that link. It's 2-1 now, thank you. So if I'm right, Scotland have to win this game to make sure that they at least have a playoff to stay in League A, if I remember correctly. Fergal said, Craig, it wouldn't surprise me if Liverpool announced new contracts for the lads on Christmas Eve. Look, I'd be delighted with that. Fergal, absolutely delighted. I don't know if that's the case, mate, but you know, I would not be displeased if that was the case. Alex said, did you see our future goalkeeper from Valencia? Outstanding saves for his country. Can't wait from next season. Oh, he's a top-notch goalkeeper, mate. As soon as I'd heard the name and that we were moving to sign him, I thought, yeah, I can see that. I am still interested to see how he does with the way we want to play out from the back. I think there is some questions to be answered there. But as a shot stopper, as a physical presence in goal, I think we've done very well. Fantaconchi. I love that name. Fantaconchi. Well in. Thoughts on the City game coming up? So I'm going to go this far, Mr. Conchi. If we beat them, we're winning the league. If we've beat Southampton and we roll up and we beat Manchester City, I'm sorry, but in my mind, we're winning the league. I don't care who gets angry at me over saying that. I don't care. Dream. Believe. And if we've played City, beaten them, so we'd have to go to the Etihad. We've gone to the Emirates and played Arsenal. We've gone to Old Trafford and played United. We've played Chelsea at Anfield. I'm very confident that if we beat them, we win the league. Yeah, genuinely. And if Arsenal drop any more points as well, I don't even want to listen to their name being mentioned in the title race. 9 points is already a lot for them to make up. If they drop any more, it's good night Vienna for them. And you know what? Don't be afraid to say these things. It's not madness to suggest if your team goes 8 points clear at the top of the league that maybe you have a right to think you might win the league. Embrace it. Don't let all these arseholes, these doom mongers who want to just be negative, don't let them get in your head. I know that's ironic coming from me, but enjoy it. We're supposed to dream as fans. We're supposed to get carried away in it all. Did you do that comedy show thing, or am I just being confused? Yes, mate. We were in Liverpool on Friday at the Hot Water Comedy Club. Sold out, I should say. Sold out gig, so thank you to everyone for that one. And yeah, it was a good night. Good night. We had our musical act play, and then we had Carl Porter do a stand-up comic set, and then I did an hour, and then Connor joined me for the last 20 minutes or so on stage. And as always, Liverpool showed up. The venue, Hot Water Comedy Club, I can't say enough good things about the staff, about the venue. Yeah, do you know what? I was like a pig in poo in the green room, surrounded by actual stand-up comics. That to me was like heaven. I'm a huge stand-up comedy fan, so being around the likes of Jamie Hutchinson and Freddie Quinn and all these other comics, man, it was a blast. It was lovely. They're all lovely fellas as well. Right, so to go back over a few things for people who perhaps came in a bit late. The Trent Alexander-Arnold stuff, firstly. The Anfield Buzz put out a post earlier on, quoting Team Talk as the source, to say, Trent Alexander-Arnold is set to reject Real Madrid. Goes on to say, FSG have now major belief that Trent won't leave. Liverpool have gained confidence and expect Trent's renewal before Christmas. There was also, so maybe just doing the rounds today, of Trent out with the Liverpool media team, I believe in West Derby or somewhere. And look, that could be anything. That could be a day in the life of Trent. It could be Trent going back to his early days as a young footballer or whatever. But it's good to see the positive stuff, because that's all we want. We can debate whether we think he's worth X amount a week or whatever, but we all want Trent to stay. We all want Mo to stay. We all want Verge to stay. And if it ends up that that's the case, I think we're all going to be happy. Do I ever get heckled in Liverpool, by the way? Hasn't happened to me yet. Honestly, it hasn't. Anybody I've ever spoken to in Liverpool has been lovely. Whether it be in a pub when we bump into people or on the bus when we bumped into people. Now, I'm not saying everybody likes me in Liverpool, but what I'm saying is, if they, nobody said that negative to me. So, fair play. Yeah. And I don't mind being heckled at a show, by the way. That's fun. If you've been to one of the Anfield Agenda shows, it is a bit different because I bring the house lights up for the show and I just interact with people for the whole night and I encourage people to shout and I encourage people to talk across me. I want everybody involved in the shows. Thoughts on Slot getting robbed of Manager of the Month? Exactly as you've said, mate. Exactly as you've said, Daniel. I couldn't believe he didn't get it. We've lost once this season. And ever since then, we've been pretty much spot on. So I'm sure he'll get one soon. But yeah, I agree with you, mate. I'm surprised he didn't get it. Good to hear, Craig. It was more Ori Everton fans. I've had Everton fans at the show. Mate, we've had some Everton fans at the show. There actually wasn't any this time, but at the previous show, there was Everton fans there. And again, just good banter, you know. Scousers are good people. So I never doubt that, you know. Scousers are salt of the earth, good people. So, you know, if you do something wrong on them, then you maybe expect to get some grief because it's deserved. But, you know, they've only ever been nice to me when I've been in the city. Yeah. And if you've never gone down to the Hot Water for a gig or Blackstock Market, you should check it out. Honestly, it's incredible. You go in, there's, I think, 8 different food stalls, from pizza, Greek food, Asian street food, lots of bits and pieces. You've got a whiskey bar, you've got a rooftop terrace, you've got 4 theatres. It's class. Absolutely. There's live music playing the whole night as well. It's really good. They've done an amazing job at the Hot Water Comedy Club and the Blackstock Market. Incredible place. Every time I go back, it's getting better and better. Val, thank you. Appreciate you, Val. Thank you so much. Do you know what? Again, in Liverpool, wasn't nervous for the show. Usually I'm a bag of nerves before we do a show. But again, this time I just felt at ease. I felt comfortable, and you know, I've gotten to know some of the people who come to the shows a bit, and you know, it was good to see familiar faces back as well on the night. Bill, how are you? Coach Bill said, Craig, the ref screwed the Liverpool women's team against Everton. That wasn't a penalty. The foul was outside the box. So I'd seen Matt Beard, the Liverpool ladies coach, say that he believes some of the officials in the WSL have it in for him or don't like him very much. I didn't watch the game. I am not really a fan of watching women's football, in all honesty. Fully support people who do. Fully support the growth of the women's game. It's just not something that I have the inclination or time to watch. But I didn't. Yeah, so I can't speak of the incident, mate, because I didn't see it. Did I get my pizza slice? I didn't. But that's on me. You know, that's on me. I was just really busy when we got there because we were getting set up for the sound check for a musician, and then I watched Carl Porter's stand-up set as well before I went on myself. So no, it didn't. But I did have pizza afterwards. I got a Domino's when we went back to the hotel. Right, so another few bits and pieces around Ruben Amorim and Manchester United. So the Telegraph have reported via Transfer Sector and said Ruben Amorim is set to operate on a more modest budget to Erik ten Hag at Manchester United and will be tasked with maximising the untapped potential in the squad as the club aim to end the damaging and costly cycle of mass overhauls. Interesting. I think I would almost bet my life that United sell Xerxes by the summer to use the money to bring in Gyökeres. But yeah, they can't keep pissing money up against the wall, so it makes sense that eventually they bring in a manager and tell him, look, you've got to work with what you have, or try to move some players on. Daniel said, who do you think we should prioritise? Whose contract? I think for the here and now, Virgil and Mo are the most important to me, because if they went out with a team, I think there'd be big holes to fill. So I would say those two. But I want all three, Daniel. I'm going to be greedy, mate. I want all three to stay. Craig, my dad asked me for the remote and I responded and shouted back at him, Liverpool. He looked at me with confusion and asked me what I'm on about, and I said, top of the table. I love it. I love it, David. Proper order. I hope your dad appreciated that good banter as well, mate. Ian, how are you, my friend? Said, hi Craig, I think we can beat Real Madrid at Anfield next week. I believe we can win the Champions League. I love it. Good. I'm right behind you. Let's go with that. We owe Real Madrid a game, don't we? We owe them a beating, so I hope we can get the result against them at Anfield. And look, if we had to drop some points coming up in a tournament, you know, we've got wiggle room in the Champions League. You know, I would sacrifice a draw with Real Madrid if it meant beating Manchester City, because that's a huge game in the week for us. Arian said, glad to see content with Saeed. So I don't know Saeed. I've never had a conversation with the man, But obviously Lee knows him, and we were looking for a guest to bring on for our first guest show, which is going to be not this Thursday, but the following Thursday. And Lee suggested Saeed, and I said, absolutely. You know, if there's one thing I want to show on Red Mist, and I know Lee feels the same, is that we don't always have to agree. You know, I can disagree with Lee, I could disagree with Saeed, I could disagree with anybody. But we can do it as adults, and we can talk, and we can work it out. And I don't like bad blood in our industry. I hate it. And it is an industry that has lots of bad blood in it. It just does. And I don't want that to be the case. I want as many of us to be able to work together as possible, because ultimately I think it benefits fan content. There's more than enough viewers and time for us all to do our own thing. So I'm hoping that we can build some bridges, bring some people together, and and make some good content on the way. Thoughts on the Loic Bade news? Again, I think it's bullshit. Because of where it's coming from. It's, to the best of my understanding, it's from Fichajes, who, as we know, have an embassy on our little island off the coast of the Mediterranean. And I just don't believe anything that they come out with, to be honest. And also because I've spoken with David and others about this before, and his name's never come up. I've brought it up, but none of them have ever been able to say that Liverpool, to their knowledge, are looking at him. So I wouldn't be getting excited about it, but if you hear it from a David Lynch or an Ornstein or a Romano or somebody else, then maybe there's something to it. But I wouldn't be jumping up and down over that particular report. Craig, before you started the channel, how long were you thinking of starting a fan channel? Never. I never had any thought process to come onto YouTube, ever. It was a podcast, and that was it for me, So if you don't know my content journey to get to this point, happy to quickly run over it for you, because I know people come in and out all the time and join our community. So it all started off with me creating a Twitter account back in the day, where I was, I'm going to be honest, my mental health was in shit. I was feeling really lonely. Had my family around me, but I didn't have an outlet to really share my love of football and Liverpool. So I went onto Twitter. I created an account called Cop Jaffer at the time, which was, my alias, because I didn't want to use my real name on there. So I started tweeting stuff about Liverpool, and account started to grow a bit, and then I got an opportunity to write some articles for Anfield Index, and I appeared on their Writers podcast as well. So I did some articles there, and then eventually I thought, you know what, I'm going to use my real name, because people were kind, and the responses to the articles and stuff were okay. So I thought, you know what, time to show the world who you are. So I used my real name. Did some podcasts with Anfield Index, but I decided that I wanted to do things a little bit differently, and I wanted people to not always agree with each other. I wanted more debate on it, so I decided I wanted to start my own podcast. Somebody, Nish, from formerly of LFC Couch, showed me how to edit a podcast, how to record a podcast. So I learned that, started doing the podcast, started out with the Anfield Road Wolves, ARW. That then changed into TOTT Sport. And then Connor said to me one day, why don't you go onto YouTube with it? Because we brought Connor in to help us with the artwork and stuff like that for the podcast. And then Connor, being a young fella, said, why don't you go onto YouTube with other fan channels? And I said, mate, I'm 35, which I was at the time. I don't know much about fan content because I didn't really watch YouTube. I didn't watch what others did. So I said, all right, I'll give it a bash. I went on and I just started doing 3.5 hour streams every night, just chatting with whoever came in, didn't really have an agenda, just spend time getting to know people, having some fun, taking the piss, making up some crazy songs along the way and having a laugh. And 6 years later, here we are. So, yeah, it just got to this point, mate. I don't know. I still cannot believe this is my job. Like, I can't believe it. I am so lucky to have the support of some amazing people, a community that have supported and backed me all the way through. I don't know what I've done to deserve it, but I am eternally grateful for all of you. Mark said, Craig, I honestly think you should write an autobiography. So I've always been honest about this. I always wanted to share my life story because it is an interesting one that's got lots of ups and downs in it. And I always planned on doing that on one particular podcast, but I never got the invite on the podcast. So I thought to myself, do you know what? Just for cathartic reasons, I might write an autobiography. Not to do anything with it. I've never have any intention of putting it out for sale, but I thought maybe for me it could be help. Just to write it down and, close that chapter in my life. So, yeah, I'd always planned out for that. I always thought I'd get an invite on the Happy Hour podcast, and then hopefully I'd be able to try and inspire some people with my story, because I do think it's something I'm proud of, to be still here after everything that, I've gone through in life. So, unfortunately, I must be the only football YouTuber who hasn't been on the Happy Hour podcast. So, I don't know which way, if ever, I will share my life story. But, yeah, it is an interesting one. I don't just say that because it's, I'm trying to blow myself up, but it is an interesting story with some funny moments, some sad moments, and some batshit crazy moments. Your favourite boxer of all time? Probably Joe Calzaghe. Yeah, I always loved watching Joe Calzaghe fight. I always felt he was underappreciated. So yeah, I'm probably going to say Joe Calzaghe. Amongst Down Glass, as always, mate, thank you so much. Really kind. 10 gifted memberships to the Anfield Agenda community. Absolute legend, mate. Thank you. Craig, are you excited for Christmas? No, I hate Christmas. I suppose I need to give you context on that one, right? I can't just say I hate Christmas and then... So, Christmas isn't a great time memory-wise for me. I was in a car crash on a Christmas Eve. My mum was in a coma at Christmas. My father died on the 30th of December. My grandmother died the day after Christmas. It's not a great time for me. So, I always try and just... I always revert into my shell a little bit around Christmas, because it does still get to me, all the stuff that went on. So having kids helped a lot. But, my daughter's now 20 and, she's old, so there's no Santi stuff. My son is just about to turn 13. So, yeah, I'd love to just go away at Christmas, to be honest with you, and not have to do any of it, because it's still a time of the year that makes me sad. If you don't mind me talking, or if you don't mind me asking, Craig, what you be talking about the live shows? A bit of everything, mate. So we spoke about Arne Slot on the start of the season. We spoke about the channel, some personal stuff. We, cracked a few jokes along the way. Just feed off what the crowd chat would as well. It's just like a live version of what we do here. Still can't believe Stevie, Jack, mate. Come on now, Come on. I've had Jack, mate, on the channel for a video. He's such a lovely guy as well. I need to get on that Happy Hour podcast. That's where I need to see this full circle. So, we need to get on a Happy Hour podcast and get this story out there. You're great. I'm actually on antidepressants and off work, so you're an inspiration. Thank you, Ashley. Look, I'm on antidepressants still, mate. I take anti-anxiety medication. I'm not depressed, but I do take the medicine I'm on. It falls under that category. But I have massive anxiety stuff as well, mate. And there were times where I wouldn't leave the house for months on end. So stick with it, and always here if you need to come in and vent or chat or whatever. Why don't you ask to be on? It's a bit beggy, It's a bit beggy if you're asking to go on these things. And look, it's a great podcast, and they've got all their guests lined up, and they're all great guys. I know Stevie a little bit. I know Jack, mate, a little bit. I've never had the pleasure of talking to Robbie, but great. So happy to see the success they've had, because they deserve it. They're a good group of lads. What are your thoughts on Amorim being the new United manager? It's the most concerned I've ever been since Sir Alex Ferguson left United, because I rate Amorim as a coach. There's still a lot of work to be done at United. I think he will improve them. I'm not sure yet as to what extent. But, looking at the 10 fixtures that he has coming up for his next 10 games. He's got Ipswich away in the Prem, then Bodo Glimt in the Europa, then Everton at home on December the 1st. Then they go to the Emirates to take on Arsenal. Nottingham Forest then in the Goldbridge Derby. Then they've got Victoria Pilsen December 12th. Manchester City December 15th. Spurs, Bournemouth and Wolves. So there's some tricky games in there. But if you look at the Premier League table right now, if you're a United fan, or you could feel somewhat optimistic because there's not a huge gap up to those European places. I think there's only 5 points or something dividing 10 places in the league, something like that. So if anybody sticks together a run of games, you can very quickly move up that league table. And I would say as well, under Amorim, they could win the Europa League. They look a long way off it now, but I do think he's a good coach. I do. And I do think we'll see a manager bounce from United. And after that, it's down to who buys into his methods, what they do in the transfer window. But yeah, you know me, I always try to give you an honest take. And I never want United to win. I never want them to do well. But I'm not a hater, and I call things as I see it. And Amorim's a good coach. Thank you, Joseph, as well. I hope your exams go well, mate. And as you said, you're nearly finished them, so I hope you celebrate when you do finish. Alex, you deserve it, Craig, for all the hard work you put in. Thank you, mate. Sometimes I don't think people realise quite how much effort goes into making sure you put content out every single day. Like, I've no social life, but I don't have a social life anyway, so I don't miss it. But I spend at least 12, 14 hours a day, making sure everything's ready to go for the channel, as does Connor. So yeah, thank you. Appreciate you. Do you think United will win the league with Amorim? I honestly don't know. I don't know. Gear, mate. There's a long way to go. I don't think they have a squad at the moment capable of winning the league. I don't. But if he gets a couple of transfers right and momentum starts to build, you never know. Old Trafford, when the fans are behind that team, like Anfield for us, can be a difficult place to go. Declan said, I'm really bored to death of being told Amorim turned down Liverpool. Mate, I can categorically tell you 100% without any hesitation and backed up by many other people, Ruben Amorim was never offered the Liverpool job. He tried to get himself the Liverpool job, but he was never offered it. Nor was Xabi Alonso, nor was anyone else. The only person to be offered the job of Liverpool manager or head coach was Arne Slot. Now, was Ruben Amorim in the mix? Absolutely. He was a name that was on that list, but think about it logically, stylistically, it wasn't a good fit. You would have had to have gone to a 3 at the back system at Liverpool, which we don't really have the personnel for. Same maybe under Xabi Alonso as well. So if you look at it, they went with a coach that can come in, improve on some things Jurgen did, but certainly build on the squad Jurgen left. And it feels like Amorim tried to call Liverpool's bluff by going over and flying into London to have those conversations with West Ham. And then he learned very quickly that you don't sit down and play poker with Michael Edwards, because Michael Edwards doesn't fuck about. And he didn't. And Michael Edwards very quickly then let the world know that Arne Slot was going to be the next Liverpool coach, and that's how it happened. So, yeah, look, I have respect for Amorim. He's a great coach, but that narrative about him turning us down is absolute bollocks of the highest order. And people only say it because they want to make themselves feel better. There's no truth to it, mate. None. Craig, food question of the day: sushi or pizza? Mate, I wouldn't wipe my arse with sushi. No thanks. Raw fish, the idea of that to me seems up there with broccoli, bro. I can't lie to you. So pizza all the way. Nav Joel said, very happy you're not leaving, Craig. Best Liverpool channel around. Honest, truthful, informative, blunt and straightforward. You're part of our lives. Keep rocking. Mate, honestly, thank you. And you're all part of my life as well. I want to keep reiterating that fact. As much as you guys tell me you look forward to the streams, I'm the very same. I look forward to catching up with you all on a daily basis as well. Jeff, how are you, magnificent man? How are you? He said, have I told you lately that I love you? The Red Miz podcast was so good, I was almost upset that it didn't last another hour or two. Lee and yourself have a great rapport. Great job, mate. thank you. Look, I knew me and Lee would be a good mix on a video or on a channel because, we get on really well. We message each other all the time behind the scenes. And I can't believe we didn't think of it sooner, in all honesty, Jeff. But it was lovely to do the first one today to kind of wet our feet a little bit. And hopefully we can continue to build on it and, put out some good content because I'm looking forward to it. Right, on the poll, we've now had over 1,000 votes, so we can call this one a wrap. So 64% of people that have voted in this poll feels that Allison Becker will walk back in and be Liverpool's number one. For those of you who may have joined us a little bit late, don't worry, I will recap before we finish up for all of you. I always make sure I do that before we end the night. Would you rather Ireland win the World Cup or Liverpool win the league? Ireland, 100%, no doubt. And I tell you why. The likelihood of Liverpool winning a European Cup or a Premier League title, it will happen. But Ireland to win a World Cup, I don't imagine I'll see that in my lifetime. I'm not even so certain that my kids might see that. So I would always go for that, mate. And I'll tell you why especially. So I'm old enough to remember Italia 90 and what that did in Ireland. It was still to this day, as a grown man, I was about 8 years of age when Italia 90 was on. And I've never felt that like it in Ireland. The whole country absolutely buzzing together. And our country moved forward a lot from that and gained in confidence and grew on the world stage. I'm not even talking about just in football, just outside of it. And it felt like we arrived as a country. So, yeah, that Ireland to win a World Cup, definitely. Andy said, made up, you're not going. You're my daily viewing after work today. Thank you, Andy. And look, again, I want to apologise to everybody for even contemplating quitting because, I should know better than to let these people get in my head. So, yeah, I apologise to everybody for that couple of weeks there. But we're going nowhere. And hopefully we get this channel to, where we think it could be. Raz said, fair enough, Craig. I'd choose Liverpool to win the league over Champions League or over England winning the World Cup. Yeah, but England have won stuff. And, you can look at that England team with Tuchel coming in and think you might see a Euros or a World Cup. Or you maybe just don't care about the national team, each to their own and all. But, yeah, I couldn't begrudge the rest of the men and women of Ireland and the children of Ireland a World Cup. If that option was on the table, I'd have to take it. Sick Heart said, bless your wife for speaking sense. Yeah, she's that's why I married her. She knows me better than anybody else, and she knows when to be soft with me. She knows when to call my bullshit out. That's why I married her. What Red Mist on? Just search it, mate. It's its own channel. So the Red Mist podcast. If you search that and subscribe to it, it's his own channel. So. God AWOL said, Mo and Trent already still in Merseyside. VVD returns early with no real injury. This news about them being confident in Trent, I reckon all three will be announced before the end of this week. I don't know about the end of this week, mate, but look, I'm just waiting for that news, same as you all. We want that to be the case. We want them to be extended. So if we get that good news, then happy days. Which was your best school subject? There was two that I excelled in and that saved my leaving certificate, which is our version of, I don't know what your end of school exams are. Business and French. And now I've lost so much of the French that I knew back then, but in my leaving certificate I got an A1 in Honours Business Studies and I got an A1 in Honours French, which are the highest grades at the highest level. But the rest of my subjects, they were pulling up the rear, lots of C's and stuff in there, but yeah, business and French. I was supposed to study psychology and French in college, but family situation meant I never got a chance to go to college, so that is what it is. But yeah, business and French, definitely. Do I have a live bird as your tat? I have a live bird on my leg, but it's part of a bigger piece that has the Autism Jigsaw Road. It's actually a take on the O McVeigh Foundation banner. It's myself and a gingerbread man walking on a road of autism towards a liverbird, which is in the distance. The gingerbread man being my son, who's ginger, like his mother. And it's my little nod to Liverpool. I got in contact with the Owen McVeigh Foundation before I got the tattoo to get their blessing on it, and they thought it was a great idea as well. So yeah, I do have a liverbird, but it's on my leg. What GCSEs did you pass? We don't have GCSEs, mate. I'm in Ireland, so we have leaving certificate and junior certificate. So when you're about 13, you'll sit your junior certificate. Oh, excuse me, when you're about 15, you'll sit your junior certificate. And then about 17, 18, you'll sit your final exams, which are the leaving certificate here in Ireland. My subjects were English, Irish, maths, French, business studies, biology, and what was the other one I did for my leaving cert? English, Irish, maths, French, business studies, biology, and I can't remember the last one. Wasn't tech drawn, wasn't geography, wasn't history. Maybe German, because I did German in school, but I can't remember if I did it towards the end of school or not. I mean, we're going back a long time here. What's the legal drinking age there? 18. In Ireland, 18. Daniel said, Craig, in my view, if they thought Trent was leaving, why would they do an origin story and make a video with Trent only in place that he grew up? Seems like he's signing an extension. I hope. I mean, I can see your line of thinking there, Daniel. Makes sense. Like when I said earlier on, when I seen the image as well, I certainly thought it's a positive thing seeing him there doing his history of Liverpool. So yeah, like you, mate, I hope that's a sign that maybe things are moving in the right direction. So on that, I'm going to recap, because I promised everybody I'd do a recap before we finish up. So started out by calling out those clowns at Alternative MUFC for their stupid Feed the Scousers tops and the bullshit post that accompanied it, which is tin pot, pathetic and cowardly. Then we moved on to a story coming out of Italy, that said Liverpool very much like AC Milan winger Christian Pulisic, and I don't believe that either, to be honest with you. So I don't know where these are coming from, but I don't think Liverpool have an interest in signing Pulisic. Then we moved on to Team Talk, who said Trent Alexander-Arnold is rejecting Real Madrid, and FSG have major belief now that he won't leave and that they will get a contract extension sorted out before Christmas. On top of that, we moved on to speak about Virgil van Dijk and the fitness concerns. He doesn't have any. It was just Ronald Koeman being a good man manager and letting Virgil get a rest in, because it was a dead rubber for them in the Nations League. So Virgil van Dijk back on Merseyside, and I don't believe we have any injury concerns with him ahead of the game against Southampton on Sunday. Ronald Koeman, speaking about it, said the schedule of Virgil van Dijk is very busy and he's a player who plays every game, so I decided to send him back to Liverpool. Then there was a piece that came from Tudor Sport that claimed that Federico Chiesa could be about to leave his nightmarish scenario and go to Inter Milan. The Mirror said that the San Siro is a possible escape route for the attacker from Liverpool. Again, we can only reiterate that the reason that Chiesa isn't playing is because of the way Juventus froze him out and the fact that he didn't have a pre-season. So he hasn't been able to get up to the level of fitness that Arne Slot needs his players to be at yet. And this seems like nonsense, quite frankly. Again, I don't know of anything coming out of Liverpool that shows any unhappiness of him or the club with the situation. It's just taken a bit longer to get him up to fitness. Then there was a crazy story coming out of Relevo in Spain that linked Jurgen Klopp to the Atletico Madrid manager's job. They say since the introduction of Carlos Buquero as the director of football for Atleti, reports about long-standing manager Diego Simeone having lost power at the club have started to surface. They go on to say that Jurgen is top of their wish list if indeed Simeone does depart Atleti at any point. And I've always said, if we did go to Spain, and I don't know if he ever will or not, but if we did go to Spain, I've always said to you I thought Atleti would be the club and not Barcelona or Real Madrid. And then the best story of the day came from Christian Falk and Bild, and again credit to LFC Transfer Room for posting this, and it said, it should be remembered that there's a big link between Omar Marmoush and Liverpool. It would be a big dream for the player to move to Anfield, especially because of the presence of Mohamed Salah. He would love to be Salah's successor, and should his compatriot leave the club, it would mean a lot in his home country. Initial talks have already taken place with the Reds over a move in 2025. So the only part of that I don't like is the idea of him succeeding Mo. I want him to come in and play alongside Mo. So yeah, there you go. Good news there. And look, there's been lots of stuff coming out of Germany suggesting that Liverpool and Omar Marmoush are fond of each other, shall we say. Some fans are underrating Southampton. Mate, I don't think it's really underrating them. They're just not very good. You know, they've had a horrendous start to the season. They've picked up their first win. I love Southampton as a club, by the way. I've nothing against Southampton, but, you know, we're top of the league. We should be confident that we can go to St. Mary's and get the job done. You know, we have to go and do it. We have to play to our potential, but this nonsense of we're not underestimating them, come on now. They're fucking Southampton. You know, let's be fair about this. We should be winning that game. I'm confused, Joe, where you're going with this. You said, Craig, come on, Craig, I'm not surprised. The British government have hated Liverpool for years. It's not unusual. Other institutions feel the same. I don't know where you're going with that, mate, because I don't know what you're responding to. You don't need to tell me about the historical treatment of Liverpool from the authorities in the UK, mate. I very much understand it, but I don't know what I've said to get that reaction from you. I'm confused, mate. I've no idea. Cameron said, Jake Paul needs to fight somebody his size and age, or Tony Bellew or Carl Froch. Either of those two. I see that Jake Paul, I think, responded back to Carl Froch on something on social media. Let me just tell you something. Those two men, Carl Froch and Tony Bellew, would absolutely go through Jake Paul for Shucker. They are hard men. Proper, salt of the earth, hard men. And I would pay good money to watch either of them absolutely knock 7 shades of shit out of Jake Paul. I hope it happens, because I'm fed up of all this influencer boxing nonsense. You know, no problem with the influencer stuff, you know, like we see with KSI and all on their own platform. But this Jake Paul pretending he's a real boxer bullshit, you know, he's not, because he's fighting has-beens or former MMA fighters or, you know, people who have very little, if any, record in boxing. If he wants to be taken seriously, he starts talking about Canelo and all. Honestly, if Canelo got in a ring with him, I feel like that would be legalized murder. And I wouldn't want to see that happen to Jake. Genuinely. You know, I think Jake Paul, when he drops the heel shit and when he stops trying to be the bad guy, I think he can be an incredibly inspiring man. I think he can be, you know, he's clearly very savvy. He's very successful. And I'm sure he is taking boxing seriously. You know, anyone who gets into that ring deserves credit. But this stuff about calling out Canelo and all, would you stop it? Like, honestly, I don't even believe he thinks that's right. Canelo would absolutely... It wouldn't be pretty. It wouldn't be pretty. And I wouldn't want to watch it. Will Conor McGregor take him out? Honestly, I'd back Jake Paul in that fight. I'd want Conor to win, but I think Jake Paul would win. I think Jake Paul has enough experience now in a boxing ring. I just don't see what weight they'd fight at, though, because I couldn't see Conor going up the cruiserweight. And you can see the mass that Jake Paul has put on. You know, he's looking like a very heavy set, stocky fella now, getting ready for that Tyson fight. So there'd have to be a lot of trimming down there to get down to a weight that would work. So I don't think that's really a doer. But yeah, fighting Carl Froch or Tony Bellew maybe up a cruiser, that would be very interesting. I don't think Jake's that bad. I think Logan's the scum of the earth. Look, honestly, I watched some of the documentary on the build-up to the Tyson fight, and Jake had dropped the heel crap for a minute and spoke from the heart, and I found it inspiring. honestly, Jake Paul can be a very charismatic, kind, decent, good person. And I wish he showed more of it, because I think he would probably even appeal to a bigger audience, you know. I know playing the heel, he does it well. And he's a very good promoter of events and stuff. But I think he could be an inspiring young man as well if he dropped that crap. Because when he speaks from the heart, and what he did for Amanda Serrano was great as well, you know, fair play. The way that he didn't go in on Mike Tyson at the end when he could have as well. He stepped off the gas and showed some respect. That side of him I could watch all day. I don't think he needs to do this heel shit anymore. I think he should just be the real Jake Paul. LFC Shankly said, wrong move to fight Cobra. Oh, 100%. Carl Froch is legit hard man, like no bullshit. You know, when you hear Eddie Hearn, who's been around a lot of fighters over the years, say, if there are two lads that I would go into any room with and have my back, it's Carl Froch and Tony Bellew. That they are, I wouldn't cross them, either of them, honestly. And there's not many people in this world that scare me, but I wouldn't get in a ring or put it up to Tony Bellew or Carl Froch. Nope, not a chance. It would be night. His brother Logan's a complete another knob. Disrespect Tyson after the fight. Yeah, that's hilarious. That I'd knock you out, Mike. Let me just say this about Logan Paul. When he fought KSI, it was probably the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen with regards to the size of him versus the size of KSI. KSI fought with heart, bottle, and put himself in there and let the hands go. Logan Paul hadn't got the guts to let his hands go. He was by far the bigger man. He had the bigger reach. He had every advantage. And yet KSI put it on him. That told me all I needed to know about Logan Paul. So to hear him come out and talk about he'd kill Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson would rip his head off in 10 seconds in the real world, not in the ring. Let's see if that happened. You know, stick to the WWE, because boxing ain't for Logan Paul. The Void Dude, incredibly sorry to hear about your brother, mate. Sorry I'm only seeing that comment now, mate. You said your brother passed away on Saturday suddenly. So sorry to hear that, my friend. Sending love to you and your family. Incredibly sad to hear that, mate. Honestly, we're here for you, dude. If you need anything, yeah, so sorry, mate. David Smith said, "Talk KSI won that fight." So do I. You know. So do I. Yeah, he's got real heart, KSI. You know, he's not the best technical boxer in the world, but he's no fear. He goes in there, and whenever I've seen him fight, he gives it everything. You know, he's got a good engine as well. I'll say that about him. He's got great cardio. Gonna go watch the Red Mist podcast after, said Cameron. Thank you, mate. I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, please do give it a watch and let me know how you get on. So, any other questions before we finish up? Tomorrow, what is tomorrow? So tomorrow there is a video going to come out in the morning. Then we'll have an afternoon/evening video, and I'll be live tomorrow night. Wednesday, we've got David Lynch, and we've got... I'm supposed to record an interview as well with Darren McAnthony, the Peterborough United chairman, and also he's a Liverpool fan. So yeah, lots coming up this week. Of course, all building up to the game against Southampton on Sunday. This international break felt like 4 months. I know. And thankfully, mate, this is the last one until March. So, you know, it'll be foot to the floor now, 2 games a week. And, yeah, nothing but Premier League footy. Could Conor Bradley switch to the left side if Trent stays? So I'm not a fan of inverted fullbacks. I do like my left back to be a left footer, my right back to be a right footer. Could he do it? Yes. Would it be effective enough, or as effective as maybe Conor Bradley playing at right back? I'd rather him stick at right back situation. But, you know, we do have to start figuring out a way to get him more game time, because Conor Bradley can't become the next Nico Williams where he doesn't get a look in, you know. So I hope he does get some game time. If Arna wants to try him on the left, certainly wouldn't be against it. When is the next Red Mist stream? Monday. So this was just to kind of introduce everybody to the show, and then we were going to kick it off properly after the international break. So we'll have a show on Monday at 6, and then we'll have a show on Thursday where we have Saeed on as a guest, and I think we're doing that show at 4 o'clock, if my memory's right, on Thursday. So, what is it now? So it'll be the 25th and the 28th for the next two shows. And then it'll be twice a week, every week. Jaffa cakes or fig Newtons? Fig Newtons. I do like fig rolls, as we call them over here. I'm not a fan of Jaffa cakes. Do you think the PGMOL need new leadership? Someone not directly involved? I think they need to be disbanded. I do, because I don't think there's any saving it. What strikes me about all that David Coote stuff is just the lack of fear for the repercussions of what might happen. If you feel comfortable enough doing these things and having a camera in your face, or messaging your fellow referees about a drug party perhaps in a hotel after a game, that more speaks to me about the culture within refereeing and the PGMOL. And I don't believe they're accountable enough. I never have. I think referees certainly should always be respected, but we shouldn't always just have this belief that they're whiter than white, cleaner than clean, and they don't do anything wrong. That needs to be addressed, and until we can have that honest conversation as football fans and not be ridiculed or called conspiracy theorists, I think the doubts are still going to be there. And like I've said so many times, we didn't ask for all this extra referee crap as football fans. None of us wanted mic'd up. None of us wanted ref watch. None of us wanted Mike Dean on Soccer Saturday. The broadcasters created this whole ball ache and this drama around referees. And then they're trying to blame everybody else because we're pissed off at it. I find the whole thing embarrassing. And I'm sick to death of Sky and TNT and all of these outlets who are quick to tell the rest of us that, you know, we need to behave better, while at the same time being absolute fucking hypocrites with the stuff they're ramming down our throats. I just did a summary, Ori, a minute ago, mate. Sorry, I know you're in late, but I just literally finished the summary maybe 5 minutes ago. So I can't go back through it again, bro, unfortunately. Joe, thank you, mate, for your super chat. Very kind of you. Said, evening, Craig. Just wondering if you'd promote or share something for me. I'm looking to raise money for a new wheelchair basketball chair. Any way you can help or share a link? Absolutely, Joe. Email me, mate. contact@AnfieldAgenda.com. contact@AnfieldAgenda.com. And anything we can do to help you raise that money, mate, we'll be here to do. No problem whatsoever, bro. Honestly, I promise you. We'll make sure that you can get that sorted. So email me and we'll touch base on this and we'll figure something out. You know, I want to support our community. I want to make sure that people like yourself who are doing something like that gets the exposure, mate, that we can hopefully give. So yeah, 100% happy to help you with that, bro. Just touch base. I mean, we'll figure it out together behind the scenes, and then maybe we do a charity stream or we'll figure out something for it. Dave said he used to work for McVitie's. He used to eat Jaffa cakes on the production line with hot jam and melted chocolate. I just don't like them. And I love chocolate orange and stuff, Dave. Huge fan of chocolate orange. Just I don't know, Jaffa cakes, man. I've never been in love with them. They've never been my biscuit. Right, I'm gonna say goodnight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us again, and for everyone who was with us earlier on as well, on the Red Mist podcast. Appreciate you. If I could ask you one little favour. If you haven't subscribed to the Anfield Agenda Clips channel, Connor's been doing great work over there, putting out loads of clips and stuff. So just go and search Anfield Agenda Clips or scan that QR code at the bottom corner of the screen there. And please do go over and subscribe to that. We've just passed 35,000 on there as well. So I'll see you tomorrow. Much love, my friends. Bye.